good morning everybody. This is Bernie from Stamp and Eat, and welcome back to another Friday card making session with me. This is going to be a jam-packed card making, well, it's not a card making session, it's a 3D project making session, but it's going to be a little bit longer than my normal videos, so bear with me, but it is going to be so worth it at the end. I am going to teach you how to make this gorgeous box of crackers. We're not going to do all four of them. I'm just going to demonstrate one of the crackers, and you'll obviously get the gift, the gist from that. But I'm going to show you step by step how to make the box, and you'll also learn how to make this lid. So this is a project. This is not my own design. This has been completely cased from me. Tammy White is the demonstrator whose genius idea this is, so full credit to her. I have changed mine a little bit from the way she made her crackers. She put little acetate windows in those, which for the purpose of me making this video, I actually didn't have anything at the availability to make these crackers, but you'll get to see how to do these. So it is actually a lot easier than what you think. You're going to need 3 pieces of 12 by 12. I would suggest one piece being a piece of cardstock for the base. The other piece is going to be for your lid, and the third piece, if you're going to do your crackers out of cardstock, you'll need a third piece. Alternatively, which I'm going to show you today, I'm actually going to make my crackers out of designer series paper. All right, so let's set that off to the side. So I am literally going to talk you through this step by step, because there are some parts to it that I feel you need to see how to do it. So I've got a piece of black cardstock for this one, only because the color that I'm using for my box lid is quite dramatic, so I thought black would be good, but white is also a good color to use. So for your base, you need to cut that at 10, I just want to get this level, 10 3/8. Now, if you're not sure how to find 10 3/8, I always go to the 10-inch mark, and 4/8 is half, so then it means that I just need to take it to the line that is just before the 10.5 mark, and we're going to do that on both sides. So turn that around, find your 10.5, bring it back 1/8. The Stampin' Up paper trimmers are marked in 8ths and 16ths, so you can get very fine cutting. So the shorter line is a 16th, and then the slightly longer line is an 8th. The even longer line is in 1/4 inches. So here you've got your card base, and you are going to do the same with the lid. So let's cut that now, excepting your lid is going to be 10.5. I just had to check my measurements. 10.5 by 10.5. And you may be wondering what paper I'm using for this. I'm using the Splendid Thoughts Designer Series paper. I was going to use another sheet of Boughs of Holly to make it that sort of Christmas theme, but I need to keep some because I'm recording this at the week that we're going to do our Christmas stackathon, and I need all the sheets I can get. So I apologize, this paper has got a bit of a shimmer, so when it goes onto the camera, it's doing a bit of a glare. So I'm going to just turn it over for you so that it doesn't shine in your face. Now on both the lid and the base, you are going to score at 1 1/4, and then at 2.5. And I've done a whole series of bags and boxes, and I have said that on each video I do find using my scoring tool is much better for me than using my paper trimmer, but it's just a personal preference. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2. So you've got some, hopefully you can see the score lines. So that's going to be your lid, and then we'll do exactly the same thing on the base. So 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. Turn it around. 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. So it's all go in my craft room for Christmas card prep, gift prep. There's a lot going on in my craft room at the moment. Preparing for my craftathon, where my friends coming or the ladies coming are all going to craft as much as they can in 4 hours and making Christmas cards. So that's going to be this Saturday at the time of recording this. And yeah, really excited about doing that. Also started making my table things for our Christmas, our family Christmas. So I've burnished all 4 those lines, so you can see now I've got several blocks, and I'm going to do the same. So I'm just coming in with my very shiny paper and doing the same. I do tend to find it easier if you burnish the wider one first and then the narrower one. So for the crackers, I have used the cracker treat box die in Stampin' Up, but if you don't have that, you could always just put some other treats in there, some lollies or something in there, but I have used that as a die. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the base because it's going to be the same on the lid, but I just wanted, hopefully you can see what I'm going to do. So you've got 4 squares over here. Now you're going to cut a rectangle out of the outer 2 like that, and you're taking the bottom square off, so you're left with this design. Then you're going to repeat it on this side, so you're taking the outer rectangle off and the bottom square. Okay, so it's looking like that. Now you're going to turn it around and repeat exactly the same on the other side. So you've got the rectangle and the bottom square. And I'm sorry if I'm making you feel drunk. It's just easier to move the cardstock around for me to make sure I'm not cutting it on the wrong side. So I do apologize if I'm making you dizzy. Okay, so let's get rid of all of this. Of course, you could use all of that if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. So this should be what you have now created. So what we need to do is we need to create these little flaps, and what you're going to do is just take your paper scissors up to that score line and gently wedge a little bit. So you're going to go up to the score line and just gently wedge, turn it around and repeat on the other side. Okay, and that is the cutting that we're going to do. You're going to repeat exactly the same for the lid, which I will do, and I'll just pause the video for the sake of time. Now we need to glue this. So this is where I love to use my silicone mat. You will see these tabs are attached to that panel. So what we need to first do is glue this panel down, because that is going to come in like that and fold so that you've got all your insides. So I like to use my Stamping Seal Plus for this project, but you can of course use tear and tape. You do want to just make sure that you're using a sturdy glue for this. All right, so now you've got these guys secure. We can now flip this over, because you're going to glue these tabs. So I'm going to flip this over, and each little tab is going to get a smidgen of glue. Hopefully that's enough. And now, similar to what I did with my previous box, you're just going to come around and around and around and around. And now we're going to just glue this tab down, and I would suggest just making sure it goes all the way to the edge, and you're tucking that in. Like that. Okay, so now you've got a gorgeous base of your box. I'm going to just cut my lid, but I am going to pause when I get to the bit where we make the acetate, because I want to show you how we do that. So same story, I'm going to cut out the ends as I showed you with the base, and I will just come back when I'm ready to do the middle. Okay, so I've prepped my card lid, or sorry, my box lid, exactly the same as I would have done for my base that I showed you, and I'm now ready to place my die in the middle to create that big hole, gap, whatever you want to call it. So that is going to go in the middle of this base lid, and I am using that from the stitched rectangle dies. And I would highly recommend, if you don't yet own the stitched rectangle die, to get yourself one. This is going to be the best buy you ever make. I can't tell you how many projects I have used using my stitched rectangle die. It is almost every project I use it. So I'm just going to use a little bit of washi tape just to hold this in place, and then I'm going to bring over my cut and emboss machine. So let me just move that out the way. So my cut and emboss machine is wide enough, but we're going to have to just do a little trick to show you how we're going to make it fit. So because it's wider than the plates, I'm just going to fold this through, or fold that down, and place my plate over it. All right, and it won't cut because the blade is facing down. It does just require a, oops, excuse me, that was my punch falling off my shelf. So it just does require a little bit more work on the old arm muscles, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So I'll just move these all out the way. And so I open that up and just gently release the washi tape. And I now have my, you can use that in a card, another card, that would be perfect. But I've now got the lid where I'm going to place some acetate. Now, I was going to say, I have put the acetate down here. So the acetate is clear, and you're just going to need to cut enough that will be slightly bigger than your frame. So if our frame is 5 1/4 by 4, then I would suggest cutting it at 4 1/4. Probably will need less than that, but we'll just go with 4 1/4 by, what did I say that was? 5 1/2. So we'll just go 5 3/4, and it's probably too big, but we can always trim it down. So let's have a look if that will. That's great. So I'm going to place a little bit of glue on this side of the frame, on all 4 sides, and this is actually where it really pays to use your silicone mat, because if you go over, it's not going to get stuck, but you can also bring just move your glue. Right, so what I'm going to do, it's very sticky. I'm just going to check around the frame if there's any glue out here, which there isn't. I'm then taking my acetate sheet and making, let me just get that in the camera, making sure that I cover all of those sides. All right, and gluing that down. And now I can do the rest. I just am going to glue these tabs down. So it's really important that you first put your lid in, and you'll see those score lines can be a bit tricky, so they're just going to go in like that. Okay, and we're now going, oh yeah, I thought for a minute I hadn't actually burnished them, but I had. Just felt that way with this one in particular. Don't know why. Okay, and that's going in. And that one's going in. Awesome. So now we've got our lid. So it is a little bit stiff here where we've put the acetate. It just needs a little bit of coaching. Not the end of the world, but let's get it on our box to show you that it does fit. Okay, that's looking good. With my one, I just used my thumbnail over here just to make sure that it was nice and firmed up. So there's the box. Isn't that looking stunning? The next step we're going to do is we're going to make, I'm going to show you how to make, going to show you how to make these crackers. So I'm going to set that to the side, and I'm going to use my, also the Splendid Thoughts. So we've got this gorgeous matte, or we've got some bling that goes in there. So I'm actually going to do a matte one, and you don't need all of this paper. So it probably takes about, let's have a look. The cracker die looks like this, and you'll be about 5. So we'll just go 5 1/4. And I'm going to bring back my cut and emboss machine. I can just make sure I do that carefully without throwing things. And so I'm placing my cracker die on the top there so that it fits on the paper. And I'm just going to put my plate on. Now, I saw a very nifty tip this week that to keep your die plates from bending, the suggestion was that you place them at the edges of your I'm just going to go over this again. I just noticed that for some reason that didn't cut on the one side coming in, so I'm just going to go over that one more time. Okay, that's better. Awesome. So discard that, put that to the side, and we are left with a cracker die. So now you can see there are burnished lines, so you just literally are just going to fold them. And then it's as simple as putting some glue on there. You don't have to use Stampin' Seal Plus for this. You can just use your ordinary Stampin' Seal, which I don't have. I only use this one for my 3D projects. But yep, ordinary glue should do, or just your ordinary tear and tape will do. Alright, so now you've got your cracker. So with this you can then put some, I'm just thinking I might actually, do I want to do gold twine again? Or do I want to use my, yeah, let's use this new ribbon. I got this new ribbon this morning in the box in my order. So let's give this a go and see how this looks. Oopsie, just do a bow. Try that again. Honestly, making bows on camera, everybody, there, that's better. And pull that, get my ribbon scissor, and copy that on the other side. So, almost coming to an end. So you'll repeat this with your 4 crackers. You can put some chockies in there. What we're going to do, what I'm doing for our table is I'm going to put some words of encouragement in there, so it's not all just about food. We're going to be eating enough. We don't also need to still have more food in the crackers. And so let me pop this in the box and show you. So it makes space for 4. All right, and you can just fill that up. And then in this case, I popped some gold ribbon across the side. I just taped it. Whoops, let me just turn that over. You can see my sample. I just taped it. Let me just get that one out. It's stuck. I just taped the ribbon in using tear and tape. That was about the easiest way to do it. And while this is open, I can just show you what I did. So I just stamped on some paper, Happy Christmas, and then die cut it out with the tags that come in the Cracker Jack die. So, what do you think about that project? If you don't have this die set, you don't have to necessarily put crackers in it. You can put other things in it. You can put bath bombs, you can put bliss balls, you can put a whole lot of chocolates. Ferrero Rocher would look beautiful in there as well. So many different things that you can do with this gift box and cracker gift idea. There are heaps of other projects on my blog, and you can go and subscribe to my newsletter where I'm always sharing tips with my customers every month. So I hope you find that inspirational and that you will go and give this a go and wow your friends. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had fun. And remember, until we meet again, stamp, eat, sleep, repeat.